We're all on a lifelong journey to improve ourselves spiritually, mentally, and physically. Today, this usually means hitting the gym a couple times a week, eating your vitamins, and listening to self-help guides that help you to develop an annoyingly positive type A personality. For some, that's enough. But for others, they're waiting for something much more profound. A way to fundamentally remake themselves. And that's exactly the niche of people today's biotech companies are working to serve. Whether you want to become part machine, or whether you want to become superhuman, the coming decades will see the human body transform into the next great operating system that future hackers or biohackers will build empires around. This mastery over biology will represent a profound new power, one never before seen in history. It will change the quality of our lives, and it will represent the next trillion-dollar industry. Hello and welcome to Life in 2030, a podcast produced by QuantumRun.com that focuses on the trends and innovations that will shape your world over the next 2 decades. My name's David, and I'm your host. In this season, we're exploring the impact our generation will have on shaping the future of humanity. To that end, we'll use this episode to explore the tools we'll use to reshape human evolution, or at the very least, our own bodies within our lifetime. This episode is about becoming superhuman. It's a big topic, so to help us get an overview of what today's leading-edge biotech companies are working on, we called up a special guest.
Absolutely. So I am Robin Farmanfarmaian. I am an entrepreneur, futurist, and professional speaker. I have a best-selling book called The Patient as CEO. And right now I'm working as a vice president and one of the early investors in a company called Invicta Medical, which is a medical technology company right now targeted at sleep apnea and snoring. Peter Thiel is our main funder. I'm also working on a company called the Organ Preservation Alliance. I'm the co-founder and now on the board of directors after being executive director for 2 years. And we catalyze breakthroughs in tissue engineering and cryopreservation.
So we asked Robin, what are the top 3 challenges today's cutting-edge biotechnology startups are trying to solve? This is what she said.
Ooh, there are so many amazing things that they're trying to solve. One of them is the issue of actually diagnostics, right? And a lot of that is coming down to the artificial intelligence that's working on different areas of diagnostics. Another big one is the microbiome. So instead of treating a disease with a medication or an antibiotic, instead altering the microbiome. There's a lot of stuff going on behind that one as well. And the third would be sensors, right? So companies working on different areas of biometric activity data, whether that is, you think about things like Fitbits, but when I think about things like sensors, I'm thinking of contact lenses that measure glaucoma progression, subcutaneous sensors that are doing continuous monitoring, different sensors that can do glucose monitoring every 5 minutes. So those are 3 of the big areas that I'm seeing right now in the startup world.
Diagnostics, treating the microbiome, sensors. As our discussion went on, Robin went further to explain how today's biotech offerings will one day become the next app store where people pick and choose physical enhancements from hundreds of niche biotech and biohacker companies.
Oh, absolutely. And right now we're calling them biohackers, but really they're going to go completely mainstream. And yes, it will be essentially a dashboard on your health, and you can pick and choose which apps to utilize. And that is particularly important, not only with the sensor world, but with the artificial intelligence world. Because right now we're working with something called artificial narrow intelligence versus artificial general intelligence. AGI would be when they are actually passing the Turing test and you can't tell the difference between a human being and an AI system. Right now we're dealing with ANI, artificial narrow intelligence, which means each individual, say, app or skill set is very targeted on one individual thing. So the computer is fantastic at that one area, that one silo, and then of course doesn't know anything else in the world, right? So when you're talking about platforms like Alexa or any of the emotional robots we're seeing, from Pepper Robot to Sophia Robot, and these are platform technologies, you can build these apps or skill sets onto them. Now let's take that one step further. I have my Alexa platform, and I have downloaded for free 30 different skill sets in artificial and narrow intelligence. One of those is going to track my mental health. And we already have this capability. So there's a company called Ellie, it's decision support software, and it diagnoses PTSD and depression better than therapists. So I will download the equivalent of an Ellie into my skill set of my platform, and it will track my mental health state for me, so that I know if I'm even just getting tiny bit sad versus even full on depressed, it can change my surroundings for me. So this particular skill set is going to say, Robin, you are slightly depressed. We're going to change the lighting in your apartment. We're going to order you automatically your favorite food that's going to come by autonomous car, right? And to be handed to my home health robot, right? And the way it's doing it now, and why this technology already exists, it not only analyzes what you're saying in response to questions like you would with normal therapy, but with everything you're saying, it measures tone of voice, facial expression, and even the subtle way you string words together over a period of time, right? So think about that, but on steroids. So you can have an artificial narrow intelligence monitoring all different aspects of your health, especially when you have things like the sensors taking data from you. So I've got the sensor technology pulling in my glucose, pulling in my cortisol level, pulling in my activity level, my hydration level, my adrenaline level, whatever it is, putting that into one dashboard. And then I will have an ANI skill set on my platform that will analyze all that data. And if there is actually a problem, it will alert me. If there is no problem, it won't even tell me anything.
How's that for a scenario? So now that Robin helped us gain a preview of what today's biotech companies are working on, let's dig a little deeper into what they'll offer in the future. Whether it's individuals living with pacemakers or cochlear implants for the deaf, many people today are already living with machines inside them. These devices are medical implants designed to regulate body functions or be a prosthetic to damaged organs. But not too long from now, these medical implants will soon become advanced enough to safely replace complex organs like your heart or liver. They'll also become more widespread, especially once pinky toe-sized implants can start monitoring your health, sharing the data wirelessly with your health app, and even warding off most illnesses when detected. And by the late 2030s, we'll even have an army of nanobots, or microscopic machines, swimming through our bloodstream, healing injuries, and killing any infectious virus or bacteria they find. All in all, while these medical technologies will do wonders for extending and improving the lives of the sick and injured, they'll also find their fair share of users among the healthy. The turning point in our adoption of machine over flesh will begin gradually, once artificial organs become superior to biological organs. A godsend for those in urgent need of organ replacement, over time, these organs will also spark the interest of adventurous biohackers. For example, in time we'll begin to see a small minority of people opting to replace their healthy organic hearts with a superior artificial heart. While that may sound extreme to most, these future cyborgs will enjoy a life free of heart disease, as well as an enhanced cardiovascular system, since this new heart could potentially pump blood more efficiently for longer durations and without getting exhausted. Similarly, there will be those who opt to upgrade to an artificial liver. This could theoretically allow individuals the ability to directly manage their metabolism, not to mention make them more resistant to consume toxins. Generally speaking, the machine-obsessed folks of tomorrow will have the ability to replace almost any organ and most any limb with an artificial replacement. These prosthetics will be stronger, more resilient against damage, and will just plain function better overall. But will this mean the future will be filled with cyborgs? Probably, but not to this extreme. Instead, the mainstream will likely opt for a much more subtle form of enhancement, one that can't be seen, or will dramatically improve our lives. Consider this. Instead of pimping out their bodies, a new subculture is already growing that's opting to enhance their brain power instead. Still in its early stages, this subculture ranges between competitive video gamers to Wall Street stock traders. To get an edge over their competitors, many of them are experimenting with nootropics, a category of drugs that enhance cognitive ability. Whether you prefer a simple nootropic stack like caffeine and L-theanine, my favorite, or something more advanced like the paracetam and choline combo, or maybe even prescription drugs like modafinil, Adderall, and Ritalin. These all generate various degrees of increased concentration and memory recall. Over time, new nootropic drugs will hit the market that will not only be safer, they will also pack ever more powerful brain-boosting effects. But relying on drugs is only the start. 2 decades from now, we'll see this subculture begin to experiment with integrating computer implants into their brains. It may sound far-fetched now, but consider the fact that your smartphone is rarely ever a few feet away from you at any given time. Inserting a supercomputer inside your head is just a more convenient place to put it. So whether this machine-brain hybrid comes about from an implant or from an army of nanobots swimming through your brain, the result will be the same: an internet-enabled mind. Such individuals will be able to mix human intuition with the web's raw processing power, kind of like having a Google search engine inside your brain. If you think about it, that could come in quite handy more often than not. Okay, so we've spoken about using machines and computers to enhance our bodies. But let's be honest, for most people, becoming half-man, half-machine cyborgs isn't the natural picture people conjure up when they think about the term superhuman. Instead, we imagine people with powers much like those we read in our childhood comic books. Powers like super speed, super strength, super senses. And for the most part, these powers already exist thanks to the development of performance-enhancing drugs, or PEDs. These are drugs we hear about all the time in every major sports league. Athletes use them to generate more powerful swings in baseball, run faster in track, endure longer in cycling, and hit harder in American football. In between, they're used to recover faster from workouts and practices, and especially from injuries. But as the decades progress, PEDs will be replaced by what scientists call genetic doping, where gene therapy is used to edit your body's existing genetic makeup to give you the benefits of PEDs, but without the chemicals. The thing is, while PEDs will continue to be an issue in sports, if you're not a professional competitor, there isn't that much stopping you from using these drugs today. Meanwhile, when it comes to enhancing our senses, that's where things get interesting. Because in reality, the world is far richer than our human senses allow us to perceive. To really understand what I mean by that, I want you to focus on that last word: perceive. It's our brain that helps us make sense of the world around us. And it does this not by floating above our heads, looking down, and controlling us with an Xbox controller. It does this by being trapped inside a box, our skulls, and processing whatever information it's given from our sensory organs, like our eyes, our nose, our ears, etc. But just as the deaf or the blind live much smaller lives compared to able-bodied people, mostly due to the limitations their disability places upon how they can perceive the world, the exact same thing can be said for all humans due to the limitations of our basic set of sensory organs. Consider this. Our eyes perceive less than a 10 trillionth of all light waves. We can't see gamma rays, we can't see X-rays, we can't see ultraviolet light, and don't get me started on infrared, microwaves, and radio waves. But all kidding aside, imagine what your life would be like, how you would perceive the world, if you could see more than the tiny sliver of light your eyes currently allow. Likewise, imagine how you would perceive the world if your sense of smell equaled that of a dog, or if your sense of hearing equaled that of an elephant. As humans, we essentially see the world through a peephole, but through future genetic engineering procedures, humans will one day have the option to see through a giant window. Some people will opt to supercharge their existing senses of hearing, sight, smell, touch, or taste in an effort to expand how they perceive the world around them, while others may opt to integrate senses that are entirely alien to the human experience, like echolocation, the sense bats use to see the world around them, or magnetites that allow birds to sense the Earth's magnetic field. In all, the animal kingdom has hundreds of alien senses that future humans may opt to integrate into their bodies. So there you have it. We've covered most of the ways humans will be able to play God with their bodies over the next few decades, be it with machines, computers, drugs, or genetic engineering. But at the end of the day, are we even ready for all these changes? How will society adapt to a world filled with people whose abilities and senses are so far beyond the traditional human experience? We asked Robin to share her thoughts on these questions.
Sure. Well, we already are cyborgs, right? We've already accepted this. Contact lenses enhance our abilities. We have been cyborgs for years. What the really cool thing going on in the future are things like brain-computer interfaces controlling things that are either attached to your body or external to your body, right? So imagine if you want 4 different arms, you can strap on 2 extra arms and they will be controlled by a brain-computer interface just the same way that you control your regular arms by thinking. You will be able to control these 2 separate arms. Not only does this technology already exist, but we have brain-computer interfaces controlling prosthetic arms on the market, FDA approved with the Luke Deca arm. And there are other companies that are working on putting like a 3rd arm on a monkey right now. And the monkey just goes in and actually uses that 3rd arm as if it was always born with it. Right. So we're going to see this kind of thing slowly go in through society in different transhumanist aspects. And I think it's going to be, except for the extremists that want to go all the way to extreme and want to look very different right off the bat, they might be a little bit, looked upon as strange. But otherwise, it's going to happen slowly, gradually, and just wash through the whole population, I think, pretty easily.
Overall, whether or not you choose to take advantage of these superpowers yourself, within a few decades you'll be living among humans with abilities far beyond what we evolved with. These transhumans, just by their very existence, will cause a shift in the human condition. It will mark a point in our collective history when humans finally gain a mastery over their physical form and intellectual potential. So what do you think? Would you take advantage of these coming medical tools to enhance your body or mind? Do you think these body modifications will be accepted by society at large, or become just another subculture? Send us your thoughts at feedback@quantumrun.com. We'll publish the most thoughtful feedback on our website. Or post a comment in one of our Future of Health articles, also published on quantumrun.com. We go into way more detail about this topic there, and the links to all of these articles are listed in the podcast description below. A special thanks goes out to our guest Robin Farmanfarmaian. She has a new book out, and we'll let her describe it.
So my book, you can find that on Amazon or any of the other online retailers. It's called The Patient as CEO, and it talks about the convergence of exponential technology and how that empowers the healthcare consumer to be a key decision maker on the healthcare team. Now, when I'm talking about exponential technology, I'm talking about sensors, robotics, nanotechnology, 3D printing, utilizing the power of the crowd, and artificial intelligence, and how those different aspects of technology are working together to not only dramatically change medicine over the next 5 to 10 years, but really put the patient into the driver's seat.
As for the music you heard throughout this podcast, it was composed by Karl Gutowski. Finally, want to support the show? Then be sure to subscribe, like, heart, share, review, and recommend this podcast to your friends. The more support we get from fans like you, the more often we can publish new episodes. It really does help. That's it for now, but be sure to join us for another episode of Life in 2030.